Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Countdown to Revolution. Last time I counted down my favorite albums from the year 1991. Today I will go with another great year of music. The exact next year, 1992. So today I will be counting down the top 10 albums of 1992. And I will also give you my favorite song off those albums. So, in case you've never heard the album before, maybe you have somewhere to start if you don't want to listen to the whole thing straight through. So, without further ado, let's start the countdown. Number 10. Number 10 comes from a band I heard a lot about for a long time. And I will admit, until the past year, I never actually listened to them. They don't get a lot of radio play, if really at all. But when I went back, and this is the first album I listened to them, and it's my favorite album I've heard so far, is Dream Theater, Image and Words. Dream Theater, Image and Words. It really blew me away. The musicianship, the songwriting, everything. They have some really great tracks on there. My favorite track, I would say, would be Another Day. And Another Day is going to be a little more poppy than the rest of the stuff on the album, but I think it's pretty good for a general audience. Number 9. Number 9 is a classic band, and I'm probably alone in this. Probably very alone in this, but I think it's their best album, and that is Def Leppard, Adrenalize. I just think it's more. I just think it's more mature than their earlier stuff. I think their 80s stuff is really good, but Adrenalize for me is when I got into Def Leppard, so it's some of the earliest stuff that I personally heard, so it'll always have a good place in my heart. And Make Love Like a Man, I will put as the best song. Number 8. Number 8. Let's do some rap music here. Number 8, Dr. Dre, The Chronic. This is really, I think, between, for me, rap between about 86 and about 93 is probably the golden age for rap for me. It's the stuff I like the most. But Dr. Dre, The Chronic, comes in like a bullet right after his NWA days. Not as good as the NWA albums, I will say, but still pretty darn good, right? Best song on the album, probably the most popular song on the album, Nothing But a G Thing, featuring Snoop Dogg. Number 7. Number 7 is a very classic band, a classic band that comes out of the grunge era. It is their first album, Stone Temple Pilots, Core. You can't beat Scott Weiland's voice. I also really like Velvet Revolver a lot down the line. If you watch my channel, you know I'm a huge Guns N' Roses fan. Velvet Revolver was just kind of what Guns N' Roses sounds like with Scott Weiland helping write the music and sing. But getting back to this album, not a weak not a weak track at all on Core. I mean, you can sit and listen to this one straight through, and if you don't like it, there might be something wrong with you. So I keep going in and out of the picture here. I could have done this a little better, I think, now that I think about it. And I'm wearing my glasses. I don't normally wear my glasses because of the glare, so I'm taking those off. Now I have no glasses, and I'm back ready to go, and I'm back in the picture. Number 6. Number 6, let's go with R.E.M. R.E.M. Automatic for the People. Again, not really a weak track on this album either. It's really easy to listen to straight through. I think it's a little more front loaded. Gets a little weaker towards the end, but still good. Nothing really to complain about. My favorite song on this album is the Sidewinder, Sleeps Tonight. Number 5, getting into the top 5. I have a female artist, Tori Amos, Little Earthquakes. Tori Amos, what can you say? Fantastic voice, definitely in my top 10 female vocalists of all time. Now that I think about it, I should do a video about that, my favorite vocalist. Little Earthquakes, I think is her best album overall. And if I have to pick a favorite song off this, I'll go with Crucify. Number 4, Megadeth. Megadeth, Countdown to Extinction. Again, like a lot of the others on this list, I think this is the best album. I know hardcore Megadeth fans are going to disagree with me. I'm not a huge heavy metal guy, so I'm not a, I think guys are all right, like bands like Slayer and Pantera and all these things. I can listen to them, not my favorite type of music. So I really prefer this type of Megadeth to something like Peace Sells and Who's Buying and that kind of thing. My favorite song off this album is probably the most known song on this album, and that is Countdown to Extinction. Number 3. This is probably a surprise pick for many. It's a forgotten gem of the 90s. I think this album is a 10 out of 10. It's fantastic all the way through. I don't care what anybody says. A lot of you will probably argue with me on this one, but the Gin Blossoms, New Miserable Experience. Every song is great. The album, I think, is just fantastic. I never thought the Gin Blossoms got as much respect as they deserved, although they did have a handful of hits. They weren't around long enough. And this album, I think, is a classic for me. I know about for a lot of people, but for me, it's definitely a classic. And best song, I'm going to go with Hey Jealousy, because one of my favorite songs, I think, is also the strongest track on the album. Number two, I don't think I'll get too much argument with this one. Again, one of the grunge era bands that come out. Lane Staley, rest in peace, is their lead singer. You know what it is. Alice in Chains, Dirt. Again, another 10 out of 10 album. The album hits you right from the beginning with the best song, I think, on the album is Them Bones. I've seen Alice in Chains actually quite a few times live, I think. I've never seen the original lineup. I've seen Jerry Cantrell solo once. He opened up for Metallica. I think I saw it in 97, 98, somewhere in there. And then I've seen the new version of Alice in Chains with their new singer. I can't remember his name, but he's fantastic. Alice in Chains gets a lot of hate for keeping the name and keeping going and all that. But let me tell you, I've heard the later Alice in Chains albums, and they're solid. They're really solid albums. Are they as good as this older stuff? No. Does anybody replace Lane? No. But I think it's okay they keep the name Alice in Chains because they have the same sound. They really do. So if you haven't listened to new Alice in Chains stuff, I suggest you do it. If you like the older stuff, give the new lineup a chance because you still have, again, Lane writing the stuff. You still have those harmonies. You still have those vocals. You still have those guitar parts. So to me, I still feel like it's Alice in Chains. It's different Alice in Chains. It's still Alice in Chains. It's not like the fake Guns N' Roses with Chinese Democracy where you have Axl and a bunch of random people. No, this is the band with a different singer that has a similar tone still. And number 1, again, probably no surprise if you watch the channel here. I love The Cure. So number 1, I'm going with The Cure. Wish. What can you say? The Cure is The Cure. You're going to love them or you're going to hate them. If you're depressed, you're going to love them. If you're the really happy person, you might not love them so much. But you might at least like the song Friday I'm in Love. That with Just Like Heaven, which is on one of their older albums, are their biggest poppy hits. So even if you don't like the deep cuts on the Cure albums, you probably like those songs. But I'm not going to go with Friday I'm in Love here. I like the song, unlike a lot of big Cure fans. I'm going to go with kind of a fan favorite here, and this is where I would start if you went to this album. The Edge of the Deep Green Sea. Fantastic song. It's like 7.5 minutes long. The guitar is killer in it. The lyrics are killer in it. This is a 10 out of 10 album. That's a 10 out of 10 song. So, what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? What did I leave on the list? What would you put on your list? I'd love to see your top 10 list down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the bell. And I'll be back later on with another top 10 in one of my favorite years of music. What year would you like me to do? I'm thinking of doing something in the 60s next. So if you have an idea, let me know. And with that, I will see you all next time.